The SpaceX IPO is priced at 1.75 trillion. But that is not the number the fastest moving market put on it. A platform with no official numbers priced it at $2.56 trillion on the same afternoon the IPO path cleared. I went back through what that market was actually reading when it moved. 3 weeks earlier, the same platform priced a different company's IPO 60 minutes before Nasdaq opened. It was only 3% of the actual price. That accuracy is why the $800 billion gap is not noise. Here's what that platform was reading when it moved to $2.56 trillion. On May 18, 2026, a 9-member jury dismissed every one of Elon Musk's claims against OpenAI. The court case was the last legal obstacle standing between today and the June 12 IPO. When the ruling came in, the path was clear. But not because the underlying question was answered, because the clock ran out. The jury ruled on something narrower than most people expected. Elon Musk filed his lawsuit in February 2024. His legal team spent more than 2 years building it. They filed thousands of pages of documents. He took the witness stand for more than 7 hours across 3 days. Then the jury deliberated for only 1 hour and 53 minutes. They did not rule on whether OpenAI betrayed its founding mission. They ruled on a clock. The court found Elon knew about OpenAI's shift towards for-profit by 2021. He had 3 years from that moment to file. He filed in February 2024. 1 month past the window. Every single claim was dismissed on that basis alone. He did not lose because OpenAI was proven right. He lost because he filed the lawsuit 1 month too late. That is the only reason. The real question, whether OpenAI actually broke its founding promise, was never ruled on. The judge confirmed the jury's decision. She also said that appealing it will be very hard. When a jury decides something was filed too late, higher courts almost never overturn that. The question the lawsuit was built to answer is still open. The IPO is not. And the same week that door swung open, Nvidia made 4 hand deliveries, first production units of its new Vera CPU, to 4 organizations: SpaceX AI, OpenAI, Anthropic, Oracle. The people who set the $2.56 trillion price moved the same afternoon as that verdict. What they were reading was not the ruling. It was what the ruling cleared. Nvidia does not hand-deliver its most advanced hardware to 200 companies. It delivered the first production Vera units to 4. Before I tell you what Vera does, you need to understand the problem it solves. Think of Daniel's Burger Shop. The GPUs in an AI system are the cooks. They can process thousands of calculations every second. There is also a separate processor that coordinates all of them. That processor is the manager, calling out orders in the kitchen. The problem: the cooks can work 10 times faster than the manager can communicate. They wait. The bottleneck is not the cooks. It is the connection speed between the manager and the work. That bottleneck has existed in every major AI training system built before this year. Vera is the first fully custom processor Nvidia built to solve that problem. It connects to the Rubin GPU through a direct link called NVLink at 1.8 terabytes per second. A standard CPU to GPU connection runs around 180 gigabytes per second. That is a 10x increase in communication speed between the processor and the work. The manager now keeps up with the kitchen. Are you with me? For reinforcement learning, the training method where an AI gets smarter by running billions of simulations against itself, the CPU to GPU pipeline was the ceiling. Vera removes it. The full Vera Rubin platform delivers 5 times the inference performance of Nvidia's previous generation at 10 times lower cost per token. This is Nvidia's first fully custom AI supercomputer system. SpaceX AI received early evaluation units to test for grok training and simulation workloads. As of May 19, 2026, Grok 5 is training on Colossus 2 in Memphis. 555,000 Nvidia GPUs, 1 gigawatt of power. That cluster is almost double the size of the largest comparable cluster Microsoft runs for OpenAI. Adding Vera as the orchestration layer is the next step in that architecture. This delivery happened 24 days before the June 12 IPO. No financial terms have been disclosed. No commercial contracts was announced. The hardware is real. The revenue confirmation is not. The list Nvidia chose was public on the same day the futures contract opened. On May 18, 2026, at 5:16 in the morning UTC, a platform called Trade.xyz launched a contract, SPCX USDC. No actual SpaceX shares changed hands on this platform. Think of it like a sports bet. You do not need to own the team to bet on the championship outcome. You just need someone willing to take over the other side. A synthetic perpetual futures contract works the same way. You are betting on what the share price will be. Someone else bets against you. No equity moves. The reference price was set at $150 per share. SpaceX has 11.87 billion fully diluted shares outstanding. $150 times 11.87 billion equals $1.78 trillion. That is the baseline the platform used to open the market. Within hours, the price spiked to $216 per share. $216 times 11.87 billion, $2.56 trillion. As of recording on May 19, the closing price was $202.94 per share. That implies a market cap of $2.41 trillion. US traders were blocked from the platform entirely. But that does not make the numbers irrelevant. 3 weeks earlier, Trade.xyz ran the same play on different IPO. The company, Cerebras, a chip company that listed on Nasdaq. On the morning of the Cerebras IPO, 60 minutes before Nasdaq opened, Trade.xyz's contract had Cerebras priced at $340 per share. The actual Nasdaq opening price for Cerebras was $350 per share. 3% away, 60 minutes before a single share traded on a US exchange. If this kind of breakdown is useful, hit like. I go 3 layers deep every week. Jeff Dorman is the Chief Investment Officer at Arca, a digital asset investment firm. He described these markets directly. Sentiment markets more than fundamental valuation markets. He is right. This is not an institutional consensus. This is active traders making bets on public information before the official document exists. $800 billion. The gap between the 2.56 trillion peak and the 1.75 trillion roadshow floor is larger than SpaceX's entire implied valuation in late 2024. That market was reading 3 signals when it moved. The ruling was one. The Nvidia list was another. The third was not a hardware delivery or the court ruling. On May 1, 2026, the Department of Defense signed a classified AI agreement with 6 companies: Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, OpenAI, Google, and SpaceX. Think of it like a school. Most of the building is open to everyone. Classrooms, hallways, the cafeteria. Then there are areas only teachers can enter. Then there is the principal's office, where the most sensitive records are kept. Very few people ever get inside. IL-6 and IL-7 are the government's version of that room. The most sensitive military information in that country sits there. SpaceX just received the key. The ruling cleared a path. The Nvidia list placed SpaceX in a tier. The Pentagon credential authorized SpaceX to hold the most sensitive data the US military produces. None of it appears on the balance sheet yet. All of it was public on the day the futures contract opened. The S1 will be the first time any of it has to be put to a number. 3 signals set the $2.56 trillion price before the S1 existed. You now know what each one says and what it does not. Here's what the S1 will show for the first time. What Starlink actually earns per subscriber, what the Anthropic list terms are, how launch revenue compares to AI revenue, what the churn rate looks like, and whether the $1.75 trillion ask is built on something that holds under real scrutiny. Every dollar of the $800 billion pick was placed before a single page of official disclosure existed. The people who took the other side of those bets were not waiting for the same document you are. One more thing to watch before June 12th. Starship Flight 12 is scheduled for May 20th, 2026. This is version 3's debut. Every Starship version before this one was designed for testing. Version 3 is the first designed to reach orbit. By the time you watch this video, it has flown or it has not. That result lands inside the IPO roadshow window. The next video covers both, what the S1 actually showed and what Starship did. The fastest moving market in this story sets its price on May 18, 2026. The same afternoon the jury release its ruling. When the prospectus lands, ask yourself whether the numbers explain the $800 billion gap or whether they just sit next to it. If this breakdown is useful, subscribe. The S1 breakdown is next.